Good morning, dear students. Now, welcome to today's class. In today's class, we'll discuss a new topic that is interest on debentures. So, interest on debentures is calculated at fixed rate on its nominal or face value payable quarterly, half yearly, or yearly as per the terms of issue. So, the amount of interest on debentures is the return for the debenture holders, and that is the fixed rate of interest which is being provided by the company to the debenture holder either quarterly, yearly, or half yearly as per the terms of issue. The rate of interest is prefixed to the debentures, say 9% debentures, and therefore is payable even if company incurs losses. The rate of interest is prefixed to the debentures, as you can say this is 9% and this is what a rate of interest for this debenture. And if company incurs losses, then also the company will pay the amount of interest to the debenture holders. So interest on debentures is charged against profit. Interest payable may be subject to tax deductions at source. Whenever if company pay the amount of interest, there may be a situations or conditions that company will deduct the certain portions of tax from your or the rate of interest of debenture holders, and that particular amount of tax, that is also known as tax deduction at source, and that particular tax company is entitled to pay or transfer to the government. So let's proceed towards the accounting entries for interest on debentures. Entries for interest on debentures and tax deduction at source are as follows. So the point number 1 says when interest is due and tax is ignored. Here there is no any taxes and tax being ignored, so the journal entry will be debentures interest account debit to debenture holder account. Here the debenture interest is like an expenses for this company, that's why it is going to be recorded in a debit side, and the company is entitled to pay the amount of interest to the debenture holder. So this is what a liability for this company, that's why it is going to be recorded in a credit side. And now proceed towards the point number 2, when interest is due and tax is deducted at source. It means here the tax being not ignored and will take the tax from the amount of interest. So the journal entry is debentures interest account debit to debenture holder to TDS payable account. If the rate of TDS is 10% and let the debentures interest is total 1 lakh, then the total amount of TDS will be 1 lakh into 10%, that is total 10,000, and the rest of amount of 90,000 will pay to the debenture holder. So the entry here, debentures interest 1 lakh to debenture holder 90,000 to TDS payable, that is 10,000. I hope you all have understood. Now proceed towards the point number 3, and the accounting entries of point number 3 says when interest is paid. So the entry is debentures holders account debit to bank account. Here we are paying the amount of interest to the debenture holder, and for this journal entry is debentures holder account debit to bank account. And here now comes towards the fourth one, that is when TDS is deposited in government account, or it may be a transfer of tax deduction as source which the company deducted at the time of providing interest to the debenture holder. So that particular TDS entry is TDS payable account debit to bank account. If we combine the entry of 3 or 4, the accounting entry will be debenture holder account debit TDS payable account debit to bank account. We can do this type of entry also at the time of paying the amount of interest to the debenture holder, or we can do this separate entry like So entry number 3 and entry number 4. Now proceed towards the entry number 5 on transfer of interest to statement of profit and loss at the end of the year. So at the end of the year, the company will transfer the amount of interest which company had provided to the debenture holder. At the end of the year, this particular interest will transfer to statement of profit and loss. So the accounting entry for this statement of profit and loss: debit to debentures interest account, and through this the company transferred the amount of interest to statement of profit and loss. I hope these all 5 entries you all have understood. Now proceed towards the one question. Here you can see Times Sports Limited issued 15,000 10% debenture of 100 each on 1st April 2019. So you can see 15,000 10% debentures being issued by Times Sports Limited at 100 each. That is what a nominal value or face value of one debenture. And issuing date is 1st April 2019. The issue was fully subscribed. The issue was fully subscribed. It means public has applied for all 15,000 shares and paid the total amount of public has subscribed for all 15,000 debentures and paid the total amount to the Times Sports Limited. According to terms of issue, interest is payable on half yearly basis. It means, according to terms of issue, the interest will be paid to the debenture holders on half yearly basis. It means they are entitled to get the amount of interest on half yearly basis. That means in a year they will get 2 times the amount of interest. Past journal entries on interest on debentures for the year ended 31st March 20 ignore TDS. So we'll not do the entry of tax deduction as source. Here we'll have to ignore the TDS and we'll have to pass the journal entries for interest on debentures for the year ended 31st March 20. So proceed towards the solution. Here you can see this is what a date column, this is what particulars, ledger folio, debit column and credit column, and this is the main head Times Sports Limited and here general. So the company has issued 15,000 10% debenture of 100 each. So the total amount of debenture is 15 lakhs, and the 15 lakhs, out of this 15 lakhs, the debenture holders is entitled to get the 10%, that is rate of interest. So 15 lakhs into 10%, the total amount of interest for 1 year is 1,50,000. 15 lakhs into 10%, that is 1,50,000. The company will pay the amount of 1,50,000 in 2 installments, that means half yearly. So the first half year is 30th September 2019, and the entry will be debentures interest account debit to debenture holder, that is 75,000 and 75,000, and will pay to debenture holder. The journal entry will be debenture holder account debit to bank account, that is 75,000 75,000. That is, you know very well, for a year the total amount of interest is 1,50,000, and for particular half year will divide by 2. So the amount of interest for 30th September 2019 will be 75,000. So this is what a due entry, and this is what the payment to the debenture holder. And let's proceed towards the another half yearly, that means at the end of the year on 31st March we'll again do the entry of due, that is debentures interest account debit to debenture holder, that is 75,000 75,000, and we'll have to make one more entry that is missing here, that is debenture holders account debit to bank account, that is 75,000 and 75,000, being interest paid to the debenture holder. We'll write here it is missing the entry. And at last what we will do, we'll transfer the total amount of interest which is being paid by the company to its debenture holder will transfer the total amount of interest to statement of profit and loss, and for this the journal entry is statement of profit and loss debit to debentures interest, that is 75,000 and 75,000, total 1,50,000 will transfer at the end of the year, that is 1,50,000 and 1,50,000, like this. The interest on debentures transfer to statement of profit and loss. I hope you all have understood the concept of interest on debentures and how we'll pay the interest on debentures to debenture holders. This accounting entries being also discussed, and TDS entries being also discussed, how tax deduction as source will take or charge by the company from the amount of total debentures interest, and how company will transfer the TDS amount to government's account. This also being discussed in this topic. So I hope you all have understood the concept of interest on debentures, and please write down these all things in your notebook. That's all for the time being, and God bless you all.